What it do, cucks? It's your boy, the Hater, and it's time for another episode of Hater Outdoors. Hater in the summer of hate. You know what I'm saying? So, didn't CM Punk steal that line from me, summer of hate? Anyways, it is what it is. And I'm not saying it's a brilliant line, but here we are, right? This video is going to be about none other than Roman Reigns and the fact that this guy, who is a pretty good wrestler overall, obviously, has pretty much been the same guy his entire career, and the people are the ones that have switched, right? And this is, I think, a very important indicator of what fandom looks like in the contemporary times, right? So, first up, let's ignore all the Shield stuff because that wasn't really a Roman Reigns thing. That was more of like, oh, who the hell are these guys type thing, right? It's not like Roman Reigns got the shine from that, right? Irrespective of any of this, because none of that stuff matters at all, in my opinion. The truth of the matter is that Roman Reigns, basically, after the Shield, he was like, as people would say, a generic babyface, right? And people booed him. Now, they booed him not because he was bad, right? They booed him because, quite frankly, people are stupid. It's really as simple as that, right? People are like, oh, this is just like John Cena, and I'm tired of John Cena, so I'm going to boo Roman Reigns, right? That's kind of how this went down, It go down in the DM, it go down, you know what I'm saying? So that's how it went down, and people started booing him mercilessly. Now I understand the logic, right? I understand why people didn't like him, because they're stupid. But the fact of the matter was that he was being presented as a very Cena-esque character. In my opinion, the writing was horrible because you can present someone as a heroic babyface and not have them become boring. Just have Roman Reigns save hot women every week. You know what I mean? But if you don't have any hot women, who can he save, right? There you go. That's how you make a babyface. You have someone save hot women and you teach them promos. You don't have them say suffering succotash. Like, whoever the hell wrote that down knew that it was stupid. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as you read the shit, you read the phrase suffering succotash on a piece of paper, you know it's dumb. And Roman Reigns seems like a cool guy, so I don't think he would ever think that was cool, but maybe he did. I mean, they are kind of dorks. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really talks about that element, but the Samoans, they're kind of dorks. You know what I mean? Like, I understand now that the new thing is they're supposed to be presented as these cool guys, but let's be real, they're a bunch of dorks. Like Roman Reigns, even Roman Reigns, who's a really handsome guy, probably wasn't the coolest guy in high school. You know what I mean? I bet he was fatter in high school and not as good looking, and I'm sure he was just this dork. You know what I mean? And the Usos and Solo Sikoa and Rikishi, forget it. Obviously, those guys are complete dorks. Those are the weird kids. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make here is that it's possible that Roman Reigns could have come up with suffering succotash. Nevertheless, they eventually turned him heel, right? And this gets critical acclaim, right? You can even look at Wikipedia and it'll be the tribal chief persona got critical acclaim. It's the same persona. And that's the thing that pisses me off. People are like, oh, now he's great. All of a sudden, now he's great. No, motherfuckers. Roman Reigns was always great. Now, granted, maybe he didn't live up to his potential, right? Because of the booking and the writing. And the writing for the tribal chief is much stronger because it involves him doing nothing but winning, right? And people were able to get behind that as a heel. And that's understandable, Some people work better as faces, some work better as heels. Roman Reigns worked better as a heel, or theoretically at least, right? And that's when he got his push. And it was a great push. And quite frankly, I'm personally happy that his 1,316 days of being world champion, I'm very, very happy that all of that came as him being a heel. Pardon me, cucks. Because I believe that heels don't ever get the respect they deserve. Wrestling is a heel-driven industry. But nevertheless, the thing that really bothers me is now Roman Reigns is back as the original tribal chief, right? Which I'm very happy about. And as I said many months ago, I predicted this. I predict these things. You know what I'm saying? But here's the problem, right? The original tribal chief is the exact same character as face Roman Reigns. It's the same guy that says suffering succotash. You know what I mean? Nothing has changed because the Roman Reigns character, whether he's the face, whether he's the original tribal chief, whether he's the tribal chief, it's a very one-dimensional character. right? He's more like a Goldberg than people want to admit. He just goes out there and he kicks ass. When he was a heel, he might cut the occasional promo, and make the occasional facial, what's it called? Like facial expression. But generally speaking, he wasn't there to talk, right? And once again, now he hasn't said anything yet, right? They're obviously just waiting for Paul Heyman to come back from vacation, whatever the fuck he's doing, you know what I mean? So he can cut a promo, you know what I mean? But like, if we're being honest about it, all of a sudden now, the fans cheer for the original Tribal Chief. Of course they do, right? Of course they do, because now, even though the character is the same, you see what I'm saying? Even though the character of Roman Reigns is exactly the same as it was when he came back from leukemia. Well, no, actually, because that's when he came back, he was a face. I mean, he was a heel. But the character is the same as when he was like main eventing against Triple H at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It's the same guy, right? Fundamentally. But the problem is, nobody cares about that because the writing and the booking is superior now, right? They're writing for the character in a way where it's not just like he's the good guy that wins, right? Even Cena wasn't just the good guy that wins. Cena was the good guy that wins and also occasionally saves like fucking Eve Torres. Occasionally he'll save like Maria. You know what I mean? He'll do like the heroic things. He's not just a hero because they tell you he's a hero, right? But now Roman Reigns is a hero only because they're telling you he's a hero. And that's great. I like Roman Reigns. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out to the fact that a lot of the fans either are too... I really do think they're too stupid. I really do think fans are just so dumb that they think that, the first face Roman Reigns and then the heel Roman Reigns and then the new face Roman Reigns are three separate, distinguishable characters. I think that people just are that stupid. They don't realize that it's the same fucking thing. So like, what I'm getting at here is if you're a fan of something, right? And I'm not trying to gatekeep and I'm not trying to tell anybody how to be a fan. I'm just defining the word fan, right? So the implications of being a fan is that you like something, right? Now, in the context of sports or, music or movies, I suppose, and in the context of any form of art, right? Being a fan, the implications are that irrespective of the popular opinion or irrespective of other metrics of performance, you like that person, right? So for example, I'm a fan of Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? Like their 2003 album, I don't remember what year it was, but Flow Motion, I thought it was pretty good, right? A lot of people didn't like it, but it doesn't matter. I still like it because I'm a fan of Bone Thugs and Harmony, right? Like I'm a fan of what they do, so naturally I'm going to like the product of their artistry, right? Because I'm a fan of theirs, right? I don't even think about it. I'm like, oh, this is great because it's Bone Thugs and Harmony. Of course, there's some songs I like, some songs that I don't, but the idea is that I like it. You can take the same logic and apply it to, let's say, Pokemon, right? I wasn't really a big fan of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, right? But I still bought it and I still enjoyed it for what it was. You understand what I'm saying, right? That's what a fan is. A fan, and in sports, of course, a fan is expected to stick with you through and through, right? There still are Bengals fans. There still are Browns fans and Jaguar fans, right? And Redskins fans or whatever, the Washington football team fans. What are they called now? The Commanders, right? I can't believe I forgot that for a moment. But you understand what I'm saying? Like the expectations are that you're a fan through thick and thin. But in wrestling, that's not the case. People will straight up turn on someone, and then like the next day they'll be like, I'm a fan of this guy, right? In the UFC too, like I think I pointed this out a few videos ago. Colby Covington, right? And I'll end with this because it's a good point. Colby Covington, UFC fighter, right? People hated him because he was brash and he would say like wild shit, and basically he would act like a pro wrestler, right? Then eventually the sentiment turned into like, wow, I really like what he says. But that's not what was happening. Nobody gave a shit. He was saying the same things, right? They're like, oh, he's really coming into his own now. He's getting better on the microphone. No, he's the same. He has been the same the entire time, right? The only person that's changed is you, motherfucker, is you. The fair weather fan, basically the moron who just likes whatever they're told to like. And if there's one lesson that we need to learn from society is that a lot of people, like if you've met someone who's like of average intelligence and you're higher than average intelligence, you're gonna think like, wow, average intelligence is like really dumb. Like I'll give you an example. There's this guy I know, right? He's like one of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. Like no exaggeration. He's a good guy, but he's just not smart, right? And he has an IQ of 115. which is one standard of deviation above the norm. So like I tell people, I'm like, yo, I don't think I've met a person dumber than in my whole life, right? Now I've been lucky to be surrounded with like, you know, smarter than average individuals, not just in my life, but in my school and everything else, right? But like, if you meet someone who's average, like average people are really easily susceptible to pressure, you know? And that's what's happening with wrestling, right? People are told, oh, and some of them are young too, don't get me wrong, but like, they're told, they're like, oh, this happened, now like this. And they're like, I like it. That's what Dave Meltzer does. He takes advantage of the people that are too dumb to think for themselves. That's all it is, right? So going back to the Colby Covington example, basically he started winning and people were like, oh, his promos are getting better. Then he started losing a few fights, and now everyone's like, oh, he's cringe again. Like, how stupid are you? You know what I mean? He's the same fucking guy. All that's happened is your opinion has changed, and then instead of just saying, oh, my opinion changed because he sucks now, he's a loser now, right? There's something wrong with saying that, right? Saying like, I stopped being a fan of something because it started losing makes you kind of like a bad fan, right? You know, so people are like, oh, it changed. You hear this a lot. They're like, oh, it changed. You even hear this when people get like divorces. You know, they're like, oh, the person that I got divorced from is not the person that I married. Yes, it is, motherfuckers. Yes, it is. You're just too weak to accept the reality that you just don't like her anymore or you don't like him anymore, right? And you're a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't accept it. So you're like, oh, you know, oh, it's not the same person. People change. No, they don't. Nobody just changes, motherfuckers. And if they change gradually. And same thing with sports or any other performance, right? And same thing with Roman Reigns. If there is a change, it's going to be gradual. But I think anybody who's intelligent can tell that there's really no change. Like there's no change. Like, and if there is a change, it's so gradual and so minute that if you hated like face Roman Reigns, you should hate heel Roman Reigns too. He still does 2 moves basically, right? I mean, he never had 2 moves, but you know what I mean? He still does like a handful of moves. He still wrestles the exact same way. Like nothing's changed at all. So there you have it, cucks. That being said, take care of yourselves and each other, motherfuckers.